Well, what's going on, everybody? Hey. I'm Double L. My wife Kai is here to join me again for another episode. And today we have a spicy but delicious topic.
Think it's gonna step on some people's toes a little bit.
Probably, I think so. I think some people, you know, some people might hit on follow and some people might hit follow. We don't know.
But
But
we're gonna be authentic to ourselves and what we believe.
amen. Today's topic, just because it's been a long week, a lot going on, I was like, hey, let me ask TikTok, see if somebody can give me a good topic. And I want to give a shout out to Mel the Misfit on TikTok. She sent me a
Thanks,
message.
Mel.
Her topic is toxic family. Do you put up with them or you cut them off? So let's get into it. So yeah, before we start, how are you doing, Kaya? How's everything going?
It's going.
Yeah.
Like you said, this week has been crazy for our family. I would definitely say that much. But kind of like hinting at our last episode, if you haven't seen it, episode 2 is where I premiered for the first time on the Cuzzo podcast.
I look good because of her.
But we're still battling some of the things that we talked about, just like balancing our life. Shout out to Skylight Calendars. It's been coming handy with getting us together. I will say that much.
Yeah, that thing's amazing.
Yeah, it is.
You can even give them an email, give people an email, and they can send an email to that email, and it will throw it on your calendar for you.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe
So
sponsorship.
hopefully, I really like your calendar. It's
Yeah,
helped me a lot. Anyway,
shameless, not plug.
not what we're here to talk about. But how did you feel about our topic when you first saw it on Instagram or TikTok? Sorry.
Oh man, I was like, that's good.
That is.
That's good because I think everybody has a family that they deal with, so the good, the bad, and the ugly. But then you have certain family members that just a little bit over the top. So
Yeah. And I feel like also with that is that even though like we may not like a lot of things about our family or qualities or characteristics that they have, it's like they're still family. So I think the main topic is like, what do you put up with and where do you draw the hard boundary? And like, no, I'm not dealing with your BS anymore.
right, because that's I think growing up, at least my family, it was always like, hey, we're family.
Yeah.
So, which we are. And
Mhm.
it's not that I disagree with that statement, but at the same time, it's like,
I think it goes into like, we may not be able to choose our family, but we choose how we respond to them.
right.
So I feel like we are only in control of what we can control, and how we respond to them is the main thing we can control and what we decided we were going to put up with. And I
Yeah.
feel like this topic works for us because over our whole marriage, we've had to put up very hard boundaries
Yeah.
with a lot of family. And I think,
Which is hard, everybody. Like,
yeah,
if
yes,
you're in that, if you have an inclination of putting a boundary on
do it.
brother, sister, parents, and it's hard if you're a teenager, if you're a child,
Yeah.
right? Because like you're just being disrespectful. But it comes to a certain point where, when you're young, you gotta kind of deal with it.
I don't even agree with that statement. I feel like there's a
It's the
fine
truth.
line to
It's
it.
the truth because, I think as generations go, somebody tried it in the past, and it was always like, well, you don't run anything. You're just a child. You do as I say, which
To a certain extent.
there's some truth to that, but
Yeah.
you should still respect some kind of, especially if they're bringing it to your attention.
No.
As parents, they're saying, hey, I don't like that you do X, Y, Z. And at that moment, like, if you're just like, whatever, you don't know what you're talking about, then, then that's why eventually that the boundary has to be set.
Yeah, and I feel like for kids, I mean, we come off disrespectful. I say we, like I'm still 18. But I mean, as like teenagers, I actually deal a lot with teenage girls right now. I just guess the season in my life, I've gathered what, 5 of them now at this point that just kind of flock with me, which I'm truly grateful for. They give me a different outlook on life. But
Shout out Irie, Anansi.
Yaya, Ananti, Riley,
I
Lyric.
love kids. we especially
There is a time and a place that if something is bothering you spiritually, mentally, physically, that your parents or whoever it is that you want to set that boundary with, if it's getting to the point where that's all you constantly think about when you're with that person, it's time to set that boundary. Like there's going to be a pattern of things that they do, and you can I mean, I come off disrespectful sometimes even when I don't mean it, but I think there's a time to be like, okay, hey, I understand this is who you are, but what you're doing is hurting me and I can't stand for it. So, I mean, you have to stand up for yourself because if you don't stand up for yourself, nobody's going to stand up for you.
I mean, yeah, that's true.
So,
Because we're talking about boundaries, and we're over here just not following the.
do we ever follow the
I don't
script?
know why. I don't even know why we even do this. I might as well just cut up all the segments that I plan out and throw them in a hat.
and
And
just
even though it says
oh
segment
my
one,
gosh, we should do that game that we were like referred to try out on a podcast one day.
like
The questioning
cards?
game, yeah, the card
That'd
game.
be cool.
Yeah, we should do that. Okay, next time.
We
That'll be
gotta,
our marriage one.
yeah, there you go. We gotta get some like couples.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
we'll just,
Anyway.
look, we're already talking about something. We're already talking about a future episode. I ain't talking about what we're talking about right now. But since we're on the topic of boundaries, why are they so hard? Like, why is this such a hard? You would think that if I have a conversation with you, I say, "Hey, I don't like that you put the spoon on the left." Just something silly.
Yeah.
And then why is it that they can't just be like, you know what? Okay, I'm just gonna put it on the left. They're like, no, it goes on the right.
I think it's human nature to be defensive.
Yeah.
And I feel when it's family,
Right.
especially blood related family, I feel like sometimes we can have a chip on our shoulder. Oh, that's family. Like, no matter what happens, I'm supposed to be there for them. Kind of like blood is thicker than water.
Right.
Which is not something I really agree with because I also believe like fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me.
Yeah.
And J. Cole finished that for me, so I don't have to. So I don't agree with that statement because something that I learned, I mean, I'll just talk about my personal experiences. I'm okay with putting it out there. Through therapy, for me, I did therapy for myself. I was told that even though they're family, if you don't like that person for the person they are, it doesn't matter what title they hold in your life, they will never respect you and you will never respect them for being a person versus just being family. And I think I had to unlearn that, oh, this person holds a title in my life, so therefore I have to respect them so much more because they have a title in my life. When in reality, respect is a two-way street. Like, if you can't respect what I'm bringing to the table, no way I'm going to respect you either. So.
Yeah. That's 100%. Like I've never been a big fan of like the whole. It's just that this isn't just about family, but like things are the way they are because like I have a big issue with drinking.
Yeah.
Not that I'm not. This is my opinion. This is just I dealt with a lot of people that were intoxicated at a very young age. I'm not a fan of it.
But that's what shaped you. So that's why you believe it.
Yeah. So yeah, our experiences, right?
Right.
So like, I don't like that the college experience, it's alcohol. No, like college experience is about learning, but no, it's.
I have no dog in this fight.
I mean, I went to Wake Tech for a semester and I was like, this is dumb. I'm doing the same class I did in high school a semester ago. So it wasn't for me. I'm not knocking college. I'm not here to tell you you're wrong or right. If you went to college, go to college. My brother's in college right now in Florida and stuff,
My experience is very different.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure everybody has a different experience. And I'm sure there's people that go to college, they probably never drank an ounce in college.
Yeah.
That's not the majority. But I just don't like that whole, it's because they're young or
party phase.
Right.
Yeah.
But back to just full circle back to what we're talking about is like, like you said, blood is, it's because they're blood. Oh, that's because that's your mom, or that's your dad, or that's your sister.
You gotta forgive them because it's your mom, or you gotta. I think with that, with those sayings, it's never fixing what the real problem is. It's just brushing it. Yeah, you're brushing it underneath the rug, and you're never really solving your problem. So then we're growing up. Like I'm saying, like if this is when we're kids, we're growing up, like having to swallow those issues that we've had, and then as adults, we don't know proper coping mechanisms because we weren't taught as kids. And I'm just speaking from my experience. My mom was a great mom. She did what she could with what she had. But I mean, it doesn't negate that I still have problems. And I mean, that's not totally her fault. I mean, there was a lot of things that led to that. But I feel as though some things that were done in my family just was not right. Like we didn't really solve things. And I feel like in the community I grew up with, kids weren't really allowed to have a voice. You were supposed to be
Yeah.
seen, not heard, and
Yeah.
therefore you kind of like dims your light a little bit. So I had to learn
Yeah.
how to shine bright again when I got older and really felt comfortable to do that. But that's not the story for everyone. Everyone doesn't get their light back.
Yeah, yeah. It's sad that the cultures and the upbringings like that are
Yeah.
those things are instilled. When they were instilled, you never know like
We
what
don't know the root of
generation,
it either.
like what
Yeah.
generation started that,
Right.
and that's that's the sucky part because
I think you can add that to generational trauma too.
yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you got to deal with that one family member because that's uncle.
We know Uncle Tom's a
Yeah.
klepto, but that's Uncle Tom, so we're gonna keep inviting him so he keeps stealing your stuff.
Uncle Tom is crazy though right now. Uncle Tom's crazy.
And
Uncle
then
Bill, Bill is a cross culture
I
name.
said Uncle Tom and he's stealing. And
Yeah, you're like, oh man.
no pun intended, I promise.
Um, but yeah, and I think those titles they don't give you the power, or shouldn't give you the power to.
I swear that's not me this time. Speaking of family, my mom's actually visiting, so I
Yeah.
think this topic is very much needed. Since, can we give him a little backstory about how our week's been? Not too much, just a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Luis unexpectedly had to go to Florida.
I don't let the phone stop ringing in the background. Oh man.
Everything good back there? What happened?
What? Who?
Her girlfriend,
Who called you?
Dale, Leia, where they took her downtown.
Yeah, they'll take her downtown.
So we gotta go get her in the morning.
Okay.
All right. Well, we're recording a podcast back here, so no more sorpresas, por favor.
Hey, turn your phone down a little bit. You mind turning your phone on silent or turn it down?
Yeah, we know. The whole world knows.
Stop mid podcast.
Your snoring probably made a cameo.
All right, so
Bring it back. I don't even know where we were.
we're talking about the
Oh, a little bit about how our week is gone. You had to unexpectedly go to Florida.
yeah, a little bit last minute, and
Some family stuff
Yeah.
yet again.
Yeah.
So then my mom so graciously is coming up for a baby boy's birthday and
Yeah.
was here for that. Here for that. It's happening here soon. So I was left here with 3 kids, 1 going to school, again, 2 at home, working full time, building my own platforms and financial things and all the other things that I do, all the hats I wear, on top of kind of picking up the stuff that Luis also does when he's here because he wasn't.
Taking out the trash.
Yeah, no, actually, shout out to all the men that take out trash because right now where we live, the trash chute is broken, so they have like this big
That's
dumpster
good.
outside. Yeah, no.
Wow.
They have this big dumpster outside, so little 5'2" me is like trying to sling a bag into this big dumpster because it doesn't open. I had missed at least 5 times with one bag, and I just was like, you know what? This is sitting on the curb tonight. So, yeah, I really did miss you in that ass.
Yeah, I saw that.
But needless to say, I think that was I'm so glad my mom was able to come up here to help me with the kids, but also my mom's here, and so sometimes we bump heads.
Yeah.
And I feel like our relationship is a lot better than what it was when I was a teenager, early into our marriage, would you say?
Yeah. I didn't know all the back ins and outs of what was going on, but I could definitely tell like he had stuff to work out. And I think Ava was a big like
amend in that relationship.
Like a thing that kind of helped y'all kind of get, and also you guys having conversations throughout the years too.
Yeah.
Setting boundaries,
Yeah. And it was never just like one conversation did it. I felt like we had to separate for a little while, and then slowly she had to understand that I'm adult now and
Yeah.
I have my own family and I set the rules for my family, and you don't have to agree with them, but you're going to have to respect them.
Yeah. That's the end of the day. It's all about respecting,
Yeah.
It's just like everything. It's like if you think of boundaries and if you don't work at them, it's
They're
a
like
silly
muscles.
analogy, but it's like the story of the 3 little pigs, right?
this.
You got to choose how you establish it, because if you're like wishy washy and you build the boundary with hey,
Yeah,
you know,
it's gonna be
it's you know one little it's they're gonna bulldoze through that thing.
yeah,
You
especially
know?
your family and mine. They're like our extended family, not
Yeah.
our close family. Our extended family, they they play by a different rule book.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're very toxic in their own ways, but they're lovely people.
Yeah. 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 No, they are.
What was that
I'm
pause
just
for?
like I'm still on the Three Little Pigs right now.
Oh.
But yeah, no, and if you work at it little halfway, maybe use something a little sturdier with sticks, you're still not quite there.
Yeah,
But at least you're not, you know, you have to stand on your boundaries. So
yeah,
it's like you build it the hard way and build it with, bricks.
yeah.
That's gonna be able to withstand. Now the bricks might crack, and then some stuff
Yeah.
might get through, and you might, what say it's not even that big of a deal this time. That's fine, but at least you have that strong foundation in your boundary.
I think more so when setting that boundary, it's not about physical toughness, it's more about mental toughness because depending on who you're dealing with, if
Yeah.
this person really does not respect your boundaries, they will definitely try to manipulate you, try to tag other people along into the issue and make it bigger than what it needs to be. So at the end of the day, I feel like with all of this, you have to protect your peace. And just because they're family titles don't give unlimited access to my peace.
Right.
I'm sorry. I'll be at home all day by myself with my kids and my husband and be completely happy versus knowing going to a family function is going to overstimulate me and allow me to just be not myself.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Well, I
so
think we established boundaries in a bounderful way. So it's bounderful way. I said that.
bounderful. I think we did it in a very
I think we covered it there very
yeah,
well. Just the importance of it.
yeah,
All kidding aside and child stories aside, you need to put those in place.
yeah.
And like I said, it's hard when you're a kid, but you can also like with your cousins.
Oh, 100%.
You have to establish those boundaries, bro. I don't want you to hit me. I don't want you to take my toy. It
So
doesn't always have to lead with like an argument, or you have to
no.
get in a fist fight. And it's still hard when it's kids because y'all are kids.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I think it's also harder the closer you thought you were to that person. The
Yeah.
closer your relationship is, the harder it is to draw that boundary.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay, so we talked about what a boundary is.
Yeah.
Now,
But the main focus of this is
Yeah.
the ones in your family that are the toxic ones. Those are the ones we want to home in on a little bit, because how many people are getting scot free because of the things we talked, because of the titles, right?
yeah,
And the culture, and that you don't do that.
yeah. Allowing the negativity.
Yeah. Or, guilt tripping. How much guilt, how much
I think that's more prominent in your culture, or like I don't want to say culture, but I feel like I've seen that more in your family than in mine. I see like the little guilt tripping, like little white lies, little guilt tripping. But I feel like your
Yeah.
family takes it to another level sometimes.
Hispanics in general, we just
Yeah.
we make you feel bad about everything.
Even the nicknames, gordito,
Gordito and
flaca.
yeah, flaca, or
Uh,
because you're too skinny.
yeah.
I never understood it. I've gained a lot of weight over the last few years. I used to be pretty slim, and then guys started feeding me good. Now I'm like, so I am.
Okay. Everything's my fault.
No, I mean, it's your food, not you. I mean,
My food.
yeah, the calories that you fed me.
Yeah. I make bread, so we eat a lot of carbs
Yeah.
over here.
Yeah, trying to not eat as much.
Yeah.
We're working on it. Work in progress. I'm actually thinking about doing a 75 hard.
Let's do it.
I think that's
I'll do my version
Sure.
if you do your version. And we'll
No, you gotta do the hard though.
I'm gonna do the hard, but I'm gonna do it my way.
No. Do Andy's way.
No, I'm gonna do 75 hard, but I'm not gonna do like your workouts or read
yeah,
your
yeah.
book. I'm gonna do it my way. Deal?
Yeah. So,
Okay.
so look, we got a handshake. All right, we're gonna start.
Monday.
Put on TikTok.
Yeah, we're gonna start Monday because we have little man stuff this weekend.
But yeah, no, that's the only things I've been thing about doing is doing 75 hard because you're removing yourself out of the way. But
Yeah.
that's
Decide the
sidebar.
point.
Yeah.
Relation.
But yeah,
How would you feel like when was the last time that you can remember being manipulated by a family member?
that they were successful or they just tried.
They tried. I mean, I don't think okay, let's do both. When's the last time someone was successfully manipulated you? And when's the last time that you noticed that somebody was trying to manipulate you, but your boundaries stood firm? Ooh, that was a good.
I can tell you when I stood up
Yeah.
to it probably the first time. And it was borderline manipulation, but it was also borderline I'm the son.
Yeah.
And it was right after my dad passed away. Like my mom, at this point, right, my dad passed away and I have my own job. I'm doing my own thing.
Right.
And, it's a tough time for everybody.
Yeah.
And my mom was, I was always the go-to to go do the XYZ.
Yeah.
And I would get phone call, hey, I need you to go do this, bam. And here I go. Hey, I need you to go do this, bam. And it started to get to a point where I'm like, man, like I have to stop what I'm doing on a hat,
Mm-hmm.
on a dime to go do what she wants.
Right.
And it was never that I didn't want to help her, you know, but
It inconvenienced you.
it was an inconvenience.
Yeah.
And it was like it got to a point where I went and did something for her. And I remember I got out the car and I looked at my mom and I said, look, Mom, I know you need help. And I'm not saying I don't want to help you, but you gotta ask me. Like just ask if I even can do it. Or like when can you do it? Not just like 'cause
Telling
it
you.
wasn't it wasn't like a hey, can you help me with this? It was like I need you to go do boom and then boom.
Your mom's still like that though. So
Yeah. Not as much. Not and I still, I still think she innately I still kinda like if she needs something I go and help. Like that's just
but she asks
innately
now.
me. Right, right.
Yeah.
So but I had to build that. And the side effect is that she didn't ask me to do nothing for like a year and a half.
That is true.
Like per year and a half, she did not ask me. Now, this is years ago. I mean, this is right after my dad passed away, but it was like I didn't hear a peep. And then when she would tell me, "Hey," I was like, she'll tell me about I had somebody so and so did. I was like, "Why don't you ask me?" She's like, "Oh, oh, está bien,
But I feel like that's the petty side too of like
a
family.
little bit,
Like
a little bit."
we set that boundary, you didn't like it, so you're just gonna go blow it up. Oh well, you told me not to do this anymore, so I'm not gonna ask you for
Like
anything.
disrespecting your boundary.
Yeah.
Like, screw your boundary.
Yeah, they're like, okay, fine. You want to set this boundary? I'm gonna set one harder. I'm not gonna ask you for nothing.
Yeah.
And that's not right. Let's
Yeah,
let's
'cause
clarify though. It's not right.
Yeah, because it's always about them, and it's never about what you
Yeah.
got going on.
Yeah. Whereas I feel like two adults can definitely look at it as like, okay, I can understand how I was wrong in this situation, and I understand how you want me to present it, and we can move forward. Versus just being like, oh, you don't like that? Well, fine then. I'll back out of your life. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think that's right either.
No. No, I don't think so. I don't think that because of what's going on, you should go after somebody's character or make them feel bad about who they are just because you didn't get what you wanted.
Yeah. And then the roping of everyone into it, like
Yeah.
calling all your family and gaslighting you, and
I'm with it. Oh my god.
it's a whole telenovela.
Oh, for real. Like,
They gotta tell everyone, all the sisters, all the aunties, and then
Yeah.
they like make you out to be a bad person.
Yeah.
When in reality, it wasn't meant to be like a bad thing. It's more so just like, hey, this kind of bothered me. Let's fix it more than I don't like you. Get out of my life kind of situation.
right. Yeah. And but yeah, like that. Like if you feel like you're drained every time you leave the conversation with them, then you probably got something. That's a sign. You know what I mean? That's
Or
a sign.
even just being in their presence. Like,
Yeah, like airs out of the room is just sucked out.
yeah. I have a few that's like that. And I mean, they are probably great people to other members of our family, or they really look out for other members of our family. But I personally feel that way about them. And it doesn't make them a bad person. It doesn't make me a bad person. We're just not each other's cup of tea. And that's okay. Just because we're family doesn't mean we have to be for all of us. Like, I'll say hi and, keep stuff cordial, but I'm
Yeah.
not gonna cook your dinner at my house every other day. Like, that's just not gonna happen.
Right. No, and I've always tried to, be as respectful as possible, and give that respect. I think that's why I think I have a relationship with everybody in my family.
Yeah.
How close a relationship I have with them, that varies. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of different things, like how much time I actually spent building a relationship, and just if what I see going on with you is not something I want around my kids, it's not that I hate you, you know?
It's just I'm not gonna let you influence them
Yes, I'm
negatively.
not, and that may sound,
It's
um,
late. We're
yeah,
tired.
it may sound mean, but it's just I'm to the point in my life that I just, like I said, if I feel like I'm drained, like I'm not gonna give you my time.
100%. And I feel like with that too, with setting boundaries, I feel like it's a give and take kind of thing. Cause I've even noticed just like when we go to like your uncle's house, like with the cousins and stuff, we can joke around and like pick mini fights. Like we could pick at each other and
Yeah.
nobody takes it seriously.
Oh yeah.
But we know not to do that with the uncles and the aunts. With some uncles and aunts. Like I won't go to your Tío Antonio and joke around with him like I do Jose and tell him to like kick rocks and stuff. Cause there's
Yeah.
just that different relationship. And I feel like that's mutually respected. Me and him have that mutual respect where we don't cross that line. And then with cousins or like other people, like with Jose, shout out Jose, and we can
You
cross
need to
that
come on
line.
the episode, bro.
He
Like, I have
does.
a whole episode for me and you.
Do you really?
I do.
About what?
The
Or do
burden.
you want to keep it secret?
No, I know it's
Okay.
gonna be about the burden of being the oldest.
Who, being the oldest son?
Oh, well, the oldest in general, and it's
Could
not
I be on
just.
that one? I'm the oldest too.
Yep, there you go. I'll say a little about Ruby right here. We'll move the
No,
logo up.
I can be off of one.
Yeah.
I know you guys are probably tired of hearing my voice because I
Oh
kind of
no,
take
this is
over.
amazing. Well, this is amazing. Makes my job
Thanks.
easy. I'm just hosting.
Really?
I'm production and host guy. Let her talk.
I do that a lot. That was
Yeah.
another way my family kind of tried to dim my light because I'm a talker.
Yeah.
And I know sometimes families like, oh, they talk so much. They do this. You talk, you never stop talking. And I feel like at a young age, when you are learning who you're becoming and learning like your personality and stuff, that can kind of, if you're not mentally strong, that can kind of dim you.
Right.
And being honest, it did for a long time.
Yeah.
And I know they didn't mean anything by it or like try to like intentionally harm me. Being a young girl, um, and being away from my mom, that I was with my family, my extended family, just because of deployments and things of that nature, it was tough. And I felt like I was being silenced a little bit. And I know that's not what they meant, but
Oh,
it's how I took it. And so I think
yeah.
that caused me to like not have a problem with setting boundaries with them because I had already been hurt by them.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. For instance, like our oldest loves to sing.
Oh gosh.
Lo-
You need to put a snippet of your singing
I
like
do,
right here.
and I don't try to tell her to like keep it down. Like, well, I tell her to keep it down because sometimes she's like,
My gosh,
she's up
she's
there.
like the octave. She says she should sing opera as how I it gets up there sometimes.
Yeah, but I don't. I try to just let her do her thing
Yeah.
because I don't want to be a person that, like, like you said,
Def-
dims her light. Because if you're told to be quiet enough times, you're gonna eventually be quiet. And that's just me. You know, but
Yeah.
back to the topic, family and toxicity. But
How do you protect yourself from your family's toxicity?
that's a hard one because you have to be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
You have to be. You have to be. It can't be, oh, that's uncle, that's
Yeah.
mom, that's dad, that's brother, that's sister. That's a person that's hurting me.
Yeah.
So like you have to identify those things and I be honest with with yourself. Sorry, with like, hey, this person, when they do this, it actually hurts me. It's not like cool.
Yeah.
It's not funny. You know. And that's again, Hispanic community. It's like, when you're caught up in pendejo all the time for everything.
Right.
And I'm not trying to I'm trying to keep my podcast clean. Trying not to curse. I'm trying to
You're
stop
doing a good
cursing.
job. I feel like we've both been doing good
Yeah, I
with
think
the
Fendel is probably the worst word I've said in all 4 episodes.
yeah.
But you know, that's just even though that's a culture thing, I never really agree with it. Because even though I know the one thing I will say that the Hispanic community does pretty good, and just probably not the best way, is that they do make you tough to those words. Because like you basically they're your bullies, bro.
Yeah.
Like you go home,
Your family's your first bully.
you think you're worried about the bully at school. Worry about your aunt. The amount of roast sessions I've been in the room of, and you know me, I'm the like, dang man, you go take. I'm like over instigating it,
You do
right?
instigate a lot.
I'm like, yeah, like identifying those patterns because you can tell the difference when it's like, okay, this person's actually trying to hurt me
Yeah.
and make me, and hurt who I am, and versus like, oh, we're just, you know, stepping on each other's toes because we
Yeah.
haven't seen each other, and that's basically every time we meet up with like the Antonio and
Yeah.
everybody. That's basically what happens because we haven't seen each other in a few weeks. They basically live about an hour away.
Yeah.
So
It's a drive.
it's a hassle. It's not the
But
easiest.
it's worth it though.
It is.
It's worth
It
it.
is. It is.
And I know we're talking a lot about like negative aspects of family, but when you set those boundaries and your family starts to respect it, I feel like it draws you closer. I feel like there's another level to your relationship.
They'll respect you for it. And it may be hard. Some people's gonna be easier than others.
Yeah, because you could communicate better with others. And I think that's like
Yeah.
the next step with like protecting yourself is clearly communicating what you want and what you need from that relationship. But coming with that, you have to be mentally tough for that
Yeah.
conversation. You have to know how to communicate. And you also have to understand that the person you're talking to may not know how to communicate. And so you have to
Yeah.
take with what they're saying with a grain of salt. And I think a good book that helped me with that is the book Luis actually bought me.
Per request, yeah.
Per request. It's called You Are a Badass. I know we said we weren't going to do a lot of cursing, but that's literally the title of it. It's called You Are a Badass, How to Stop Doubting Your Greatness and Start Living an Awesome Life by Jen Sirio. I love this book because it really helps you gain that mental fortitude without being super cheesy in a way. And I think it's a great read, not just for women, but for men too, because I feel like we all have that inner badass that we want to be, but we just don't present it in words. And she kind of helps you present who you are and how to set those boundaries and communicate with others without taking it so personal, which is something I feel like I've struggled with in the past.
Yeah.
I'm very empathetic, so I take everything to heart.
Yeah. For me, I'm like the opposite.
Yeah, you let water roll off your back.
I'm okay with you being mad at me.
Yeah, and what you have to when you're protecting yourself.
I mean, that was something my dad. I kind of got that from my dad.
Yeah.
Because like, my dad and both my parents. It wasn't just my dad, but my dad was the disciplinary one in the house.
Yeah.
But like, if he had like figurines and stuff set up in the house, and you even looked at it to play with it, he shut that down. And it rubbed my aunts the wrong way. Like a lot of them, even with me, after like there was a period of time, and this is Maria, if you hear this, or Antonio or Anthony, if you guys watch this, no, there's nothing bad. But like I remember, like Anthony, he was a little troublemaker to a certain extent. He kind of got away with a lot of stuff when he was like really younger. And I remember I used to get on him for whatever. And it wasn't, I never, no, I kind of have this mentality that if you're my family and I'm around you, you're not going to disrespect the uncles and aunts. You're not going to disrespect anybody, really. It's not even about age.
Yeah.
But you're not going to disrespect, in front of me at least. And I'm okay with upsetting your parents. Yeah, y'all don't pay my bills. But no, like, there was a period of time where I would come over and spend like basically every single weekend.
It was like right before we got together.
Yeah. Like a few years. And he would always do something and he would never apologize. And he was just like, whatever about it. And he's the baby,
Right.
And I remember period went on I went and bought him. He had an Xbox with no games. So I went and picked up like, man, 5 little 2, 3, $4 games. And I was sitting there playing, and he wanted to get something, and he pushed on the top of the Xbox and broke the game. Like, it scratched it all up. And I didn't blow up on him, but I told him, I was like, bro, I'm buying these games for you. Like, you're not
Taking care of.
taking care of them. Like, you're not, And so I left. I was with another aunt, uncle, and they were sharing their opinions of how Tony gets to act and stuff. And
Right.
and it was a full circle moment, because when we got back, I went back to GameStop. They gave me a brand new game for free, so I didn't even lose any money. Plus, the game was like $3. But I came back, and the first thing Anthony did was he came up to me, he gave me a hug, and he said, "I'm sorry for messing up the game." I didn't ask him to do that. I don't think anybody told him to do that. But like, that's just, I had to set that boundary with like even a child.
Yeah.
Like, take care of your stuff. It takes a while, especially with children. I mean, I don't know. It feels like it's probably worse with adults.
Mm,
You know,
yeah.
children, I think, are more.
I think adults are more frustrating because they know the difference between right and wrong, and like you're coming to them to be respectful about something.
Yeah.
And I think children are kids. They don't have that mental capacity yet to fully grasp it, but I feel like there's a way to even communicate it with them.
Yeah.
I
agree.
And I feel like another part of like protecting yourself is like having your space, like knowing that like our home is our space. We don't let just anybody come over to our house just because they want to. Our house is a place where our kids can be our kids, and I'm not going to say do what they want, because we still have rules and regulations in our house, but they can be them without being, you know, oh, we're in public, you got to be quiet, or you can't sing and stuff. We definitely get a lot of noise in this house.
A lot of noise.
All the time. Like, this is their space to do that. And I think, like, this is Luis's space to be himself too, and game and podcast and stream. And this is a place where I can shut the door and kind of relax when I need to. And I think, like, we do like a lot of family movie nights and stuff, just us. We don't really invite people over to do those things because we know this is our safe space.
It shifts your focus, right? Like,
Yeah.
when we're here and it's the family, the core family, my wife, my kids, and my mom and my mother-in-law when they come over. But it's like when we have somebody else, it's like we shift our
We're
focus.
hosting.
We're hosting.
Yeah.
We want something to drink, something to eat.
Right.
Trying to make them feel welcome.
Right.
But
And it's okay to not like have a space with like your whole family in it. Like, you can have your own little thing. Like, Luis is really great about this, and I think this is something that's also and is a product of us being married for so long and of our marriage, is that Luis knew I love to take baths, so like he can tell when I'm having a stressful day or I just need to unwind. He'll go run me a bath and light me candles and make the Amazon thing, play music, and just set the mood for me. I don't want to say it because she's right there and I didn't want to set her off.
yeah.
And just like set the mood so I can go in there and relax, and he'll bring me like a cup of wine and keep the kids away. And he knows that's my safe space to just kind of be me and be away from everything and kind of recuperate myself and pour into me so that I can continue to pour into our family and our community. So
It's that safe space. You know what I mean?
it's for me. And it's like everyone's space is going to look different. Like, that's my space.
Yeah.
What's yours?
Technology.
Yeah. I was going to say it, but I didn't want to answer for you.
Rabbit holes. I mean, of course, I should go to sleep at a reasonable hour.
You don't. You never will, probably from here on
There's
out.
been so many times where like I'm like working on, it could be a spreadsheet, and I'm like, hey, I could do this now. Maybe how can I do that? So it's like, and then it irks my nerve is at the end of it all, I end up breaking what I wanted to create anyways. So
That is true.
but I enjoy that. Like, I enjoy getting lost in all these different things. But
sometimes we gotta wind you in, but I'm glad that you have that capability of like getting lost in your
even though I'm not physically active like I should be, and I'm working on changing that. But like the gym is big.
Yeah.
Like, there's just something about, old Arnold, pick it up, put it down, like, Like I just love that, dude.
They're
But,
a mess.
but yeah, and protecting yourself in that essence is it might take therapy,
It will. It might.
and it may be professional. It may be friend therapy. It might be gym therapy.
It might just even be going to church and seeing
Yeah.
a different perspective on things. I mean, I feel like these are our beliefs, and this is what we believe for our family. So what we believe may not be a fit for you, and that's perfectly okay. But this is things that worked for us or that we have implemented that we are seeing a change because we're not perfect. Everything we do is not perfect. Everything we talk about doesn't mean that it's worked for us, but I mean, we've tried it. So, but church is definitely something that's done great things for us. I mean, given us a bigger sense of community. I'm helping out with outreach, which is a whole nother hat, and I love it. I'm never gonna complain about that. It also
Serious for a second, like you were like outreach. I'm not gonna complain about it.
because it's I don't think people understand how much it takes behind the scenes to set up volunteer events and putting it
Yeah.
together, making sure you're gonna have the volunteers, and then like the last bit of it is just like seeing the product of everyone's labor, and I think that's so rewarding part of it, but it is very time consuming and very strenuous mentally for getting it together, but I wouldn't change it for anything. But yeah, and I feel like with us being in church as regularly as we are and like volunteering and things of those things, I think it's given us a bigger sense of community and people that we can go to who are in a different space of life than we are that could really breathe some fresh air into the problem that we're having. Even if it's just simply as like, hey, I'm having this issue. Like, can you pray for me or can you pray with me? Prayer works wonders if that's something that you believe in. And I feel like for us, it's something that has helped a lot with the different things. And traditional therapy is okay. I've done it and I loved it. I mean, it's another space for me to talk all day. And I mean, they're going to let me talk because I'm paying them to listen to me. So
Nothing like, hey, listen to me.
literally slap them with dollars.
Yeah, no, the and you gotta have that. You said prayer or
Yeah,
and
it makes a
to
difference.
that godly counsel.
Yeah.
There's just difference of perspective,
Yeah.
and I think that's really what we really need to is a lot.
Yeah.
But but yeah, no, seeking that therapy, it's important. Like I said, there's different versions of it. It's not just the traditional thing. And I think what you touched on with like outreach, that's a different kind of therapy
It is.
because
It is.
it's you're pouring yourself into helping others. Like
Yeah.
so our church hosts an event called Love Week every year
Yeah.
in the summertime.
Yeah. We're starting up in July. So,
So like that's an event that's all week and it's across, all different campuses, all different areas. And when we did the same event twice, but we packed rice kits for, you know, people in hunger and
it was with the program called Rise Against Hunger. Yeah.
so like that therapy you feel when you're like that these I forgot what the number is. It's like 200 some it's a certain number that fits in each box.
Oh, that fit like each rice pack that fit in the box.
Yeah, it's like
It
two. I think
12. It's
like two.
I'm counting up, sorry. I think it's like 150 that fit in each box, and there's 12 boxes on each pallet.
Yeah,
So it's
something
like,
like that.
so whatever that math is, I'm not a math
And you don't
person.
know where that's going.
Right.
So like that. In essence, I'm just using this as an example of like how that therapy, how knowing that there's somebody somewhere around the world is gonna get this pack and they're
Yeah.
gonna get to eat because of the good things you did.
I think it's like at least 2 meals for 4 people, so it's like
Yeah,
8
that's
servings per pack.
I think all you have to do is add water.
Yeah.
Like, so it was pretty cool.
It was great, and I think it was also awesome to see our girls do it.
Yeah.
Not trying to explain them because I think Avo definitely got the picture of it, but explaining to them what we're doing, why it matters, and who's going to benefit from it. I think that really changed her heart too, and for the better. I don't know why I'm about to tear up about this. Especially when we started volunteering at our church and she comes up to me and says she has a goal to feed 200 homeless people. And I asked her why, and she's like, because everyone deserves food. So it's a really humbling moment to know that like what you're putting out for your kids is like really manifesting in them, and what you're doing they want to replicate. So that's a little tangent, but
Yeah.
I think it's definitely worth looking into if that's something you believe in doing, is volunteerism. And on the other scale of that is that that might not work for everyone. So sometimes just distancing yourself from the people that are being toxic in your life, there's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't mean you hate them. It doesn't mean that, oh, you're gonna shun them and they're gonna shun you for the rest of your life. Maybe sometimes, like, what was that story? I remember a story. I don't know if it's in the Bible, but vaguely remember a story where, like, what is it when, like, you get hurt and they say, oh, you had to go lick your wound? It's kind of like that. Like, you're just taking your space to do some
Yeah.
healing, some
Yeah.
personal healing.
Yeah, you can't do that while still in the mess of it all. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Because
You can't heal and be stabbed at the same time.
yeah, no, you gotta allow yourself to not be around that and
Yeah.
let those wounds heal and scab up and you'll have scars and the scars will always be there.
Yeah.
They're not gonna go anywhere. But the scars are what shows you that you got through it.
Yeah. 100%.
So like if you choose to continue to go through it, to get another one, then at that point you have to take some responsibility, and that's when you start setting your boundaries. That's what it is. That's what boundaries is taking responsibility for the things that affect you and how
100%.
you let them affect you.
Yeah.
Because you may not be able to control them, but
But you can control
control
yourself.
yourself. And
Yeah.
as sometimes giving yourself that love is being silent, not being around. Give yourself that space. You know?
And sometimes it looks like saying goodbye.
Yeah.
Sometimes those people are not going to change. And as much as you want to love them, you're going to have to just love them from a distance, especially if they're not willing to change. They're not willing to stop gaslighting, manipulating you. And of course, this is an extreme case. They will definitely have to just separate for a little bit. You're going to have to
Yeah.
separate yourself. And I don't know what that looks like. Every case is different. It may be long term, it may be short term, or it just may be like, hey, I can't be in the same space as them. And that's how you live your life. If it brings you peace, do what brings you and your family, your unit, like our unit is us and our kids, peace. Because
Yeah.
that's what matters at the end of the day.
Yeah. I agree. 100%. It's okay to take that step back. But I
Okay.
guess, I think the question of everything that we talked about is, they're toxic, their traits, you're trying to set boundaries, they may not listen, they may still try to poke the bear, you may not stand up for yourself, all these different scenarios. Is there a point where you just said, I'm done with you and cut them off? Or do you just, believe who they are and know your limits to how much you're exposed? Like, that's kind of the question we're trying to answer, really, in the essence of it all. I'll let you go first.
I think for me, it depends on the person. I feel like, and there's a lot of factors that play into this. I think the first thing you need to do is outweigh the good versus the bad. Is what they bring to your life more valuable than the things that bring you harm or mental instability or things of that nature, or that harm you in a sense? And if so, if the good outweighs the bad, then bring to them, like, hey, these are the things that I don't like that continue to happen. If our relationship is going to work out, we're going to have to fix these things in some way, shape, or form. Now, you can have that conversation. It may be multiple conversations. If they are trying to change, I don't think you're required to cut them off. I don't think you're required to let go of that relationship. If they are trying to put in the effort, if they are understanding and trying to listen to what's bothering you, I feel like there's room for growth for that person and they're trying. And I think you need to help them through their journey where you can. They still have to do it from themselves, but I don't think you need to cut them off. Now, if the person is uncooperative, still continue to manipulate, gaslight, and undermine you, and you have done everything you can to communicate with them why it's bothering you, you've tried separating yourself and it's still not working, to the extent that like they're trying to make it a problem every time you see them, then yeah, 100% it's okay to wipe your hands clean. And you don't have to do it in a way that's harmful. You can just politely take a step back and just don't be in the same area with them. Now, in the beginning, is that going to cause you to miss out on probably family events if your family gets together like that? Maybe. But until you can build that mental fortitude that you can be in the same room with them and not let them get to you or not need to have a conversation with them, then that's just the cost of protecting your peace. But I think it definitely depends on the person. You try to change, you help them with that, and you continue to cater that relationship. If they just want to be set in their ways and think they're right and continue to do what you don't think is right for you, then you got to keep walking. What did the pastor say the other day? Wipe your feet and keep walking.
Yeah. They're not gonna promote you or support you. Just wipe your feet.
Wipe your feet and keep moving.
Yeah.
What do you think on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with everything you said. I think I don't know.
It's hard.
I think I'm like I'm more of the 3 strikes, you're out kind of situation.
Yeah, you are. You're like that with the kids too, though.
You know, well, that's
Not out, but you're gonna get in trouble.
all his kids are cut off. It's not the case.
Out of the will, out of the
Yeah.
house.
No, I just think that if the person doesn't, see what you're trying to do and isn't gonna respect and go along with that, that cutting off doesn't mean it's forever.
No.
The cutting off might just like, we'll be talking about, hey, I'm not gonna be around you,
Yeah.
And I think if that happens enough to them, they're either going to understand that I need to change.
Yeah.
Or they're just not gonna care. And they're just gonna be about their way.
And that shows you who they really are.
Yeah. And if they've hurt you, if you have any kind of trauma, any kind of hurt, any of that stuff going on, it's gonna sound cliche, but you need to forgive them. Because that's the first step to set up the boundary. Because if you don't forgive them and you still are dealing with whatever it is that you're dealing with, you're never gonna get past it. You may, even if you cut them off, forgive them. Because if you don't forgive them, whatever they've done to you in the past, now I don't want to get too far into the different types of things that can happen because that's I'm not saying that things are easy, and I'm not saying forgiveness is easy. It's not easy because when we think forgiveness, we think, oh, we're just like okay with what they did. No, 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 no. You're not okay.
Yeah.
You can cut them off and forgive them because that's for you.
Yeah.
The forgiveness is for you so you can move on with your life. So you don't live with that inside of your heart and you're dealing with all this trauma. And is it okay to cut them off? 100%. I think it's okay. I think you need to.
Yeah.
Because there's a point in time where you're going to be your own person. And you got to, if they don't respect that and they just think that they can continue to do the same thing over and over again, no, cut them off.
Yeah.
And that's that's tough because like morally you're thinking, well, should I really cut them off? Because internally me, like we said before, this is just our belief.
Yeah.
How many times have I messed up and Jesus forgave me and keeps me in his presence and in his family? So the earthly me says cut them off, but the person trying to from my spiritual side, forgive them, give yourself space, and try to rebuild.
Yeah.
Because again, if you're a Christian, how many times have you fallen short, and Jesus is always there? You know what I mean? Well, it depends on what level. Now, I'm not holding anybody to that standard or anything like that. This isn't what this is about. This is just a conversation, and we're both Christians. You have to also see that you have also hurt people and you didn't even realize it.
Yeah.
So being that as it may, still protect yourself, because you need to be around people that are going to be there to help you grow. they have to be there to support you. And not everybody's going to do that. Unfortunately, that's not the case.
Yeah.
And you have to be careful for the ones that seem like they're there to help you, because they're the ones that might be dragging you down the most because they're closest to you. They know all your moves. They know how you operate. You know, it's they can have easier access and can deter you and hurt you more because they're so close. Now, you have to have a little bit of discernment and figure out who those people are. And
I feel like those people will come to light too. Like the
Right.
ones that really want to do you harm,
yeah,
they'll come to light, but I don't feel like you should treat your friend group as if they're an enemy in disguise.
walk around like with the spear right there. Just I knew that was you. No,
I mean, everybody's gonna have that one person that is secretly rooting for their downfall,
Yeah.
but you got to continue to just climb and be the person that you want to be and the person that you want to. At the end of the day, when we all cross over and die, like you want to be the person that made you happy to live the life that you lived. Like you want to be happy that you went the route that you went because it's your life. So yeah, if you have to cut them off. But sometimes, you have to burn those bridges to build them back up, and
Yeah.
they'll be 10 times stronger.
love from a distance.
Yeah.
Don't communicate all the time.
Yeah.
You
never know where it might lead.
Yeah.
So I just, your family, and I think that's the major part of this, and their true intention. So if you feel like that's the person you cut them off. If you feel like it's somebody that you can continue to grow with, then definitely grow with them. And I mean,
Yeah.
you're not wrong for ever protecting yourself.
Mhm.
You should always come first in your life, as selfish as that may sound. Like, I know for when I say that, that's my unit. That's my husband. That's my kids. We're going to come first before anybody else. And I'll make sure that this is protected before, we put a lot of energy into something else.
Yeah.
And we're, defaulting on on ourselves. So yeah, that's all I got. What you got for me?
Nothing. Sometimes the most loving thing you could do is choose peace over dysfunction.
100%. Oh, that's
Even if it's
good.
family. Even if that's the hard part.
Yeah.
Because the stranger out in, the world,
The bony.
it's easy. You're like, man, I don't even know that dude.
Yeah.
Like, that's easy. I cut you off in a heartbeat. But then what if that's your mom?
Yeah.
What if that's your dad? Or your sister or your favorite cousin?
Yeah.
Or your sibling? And you're like, man, like, I grew up with this person.
Yeah.
And the best thing you could do is let somebody go sometimes. Because, it's easy to run with one to drag 100.
100%.
So
And if you have a story that's similar to this, like you have some dysfunction that you want to share, really DM Louise. Like I'm a chismosa. I'm nosy. Like I'll love to just read it. If you want advice, I mean, we're no experts. We can just tell you what, worked for us if you're willing to, or wanting that, I should say.
tell us we're wrong. Tell them we're right.
Oh yeah. And if you done this and been through this, tell us what worked for you. I'm definitely open to other suggestions. Yeah. You got anything else?
No. I have another next episode. It's gonna be pretty awesome. One of the people that I follow on TikTok, I reached out to her. Not gonna spell any names. We'll have to find out and watch the episode.
Wait, I know who this person is, don't I?
Yeah.
Oh, this is gonna be a good one.
Super energetic, super positive. Just brings light.
Can I sit underneath the desk and just listen?
Sure. But yeah. No, I think that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been lovely speaking with you guys.
Cut them off. Don't cut them off. That's up to you. Set boundaries. Keep it pushing.
Yeah.
Choose yourself first.
Love yourself first. Don't just choose yourself. Love yourself first.
Yeah. Choose yourself for sure.
Oh, well, this has been a great episode. Thank you for having me on again. Always.
Shout out again, Mel the Misfit.
Yes, you are awesome.
With this great topic. Actually, like a few hours before I recorded it. So
yeah.
She came in clutch because dealing with some stuff with my brother. Just
You're running off of like 4 hours sleeps in the last 4
Yeah.
hour of sleep in the last 24 hours.
so she came in clutch, and appreciate you coming on the episode again.
Always.
It's always good to have you trying different things. As you can see now, there's
Yeah.
2 people on the screen, so that's something new that we're doing.
I told him like
Yeah.
I have to look at you.
Yeah, because a friend of mine gave me some advice. Dude, it looks like you're looking off in La La Land. I'm like, I'm looking at the screen. I mean, she's on the screen. So this is good because I turn, give her a look, and then
Give me a little wink.
oh, my lazy eye.
Oh gosh, and here we go again.
Yeah, y'all gonna see it. It's fine. It's okay.
All right. Well, thank y'all for tuning in with us. Hope to see you next week. And if you have any suggestions for subjects, just
I'm working on that. I'm working on that form. I'm gonna have a form. I'm gonna post, and you join the podcast, and we'll do episodes. This isn't just about my family. I've only had family on so far, but that's just because the support of people I have in my life. But this is about community. This is about bringing people from
every walk
everywhere.
of life.
So yeah, appreciate you guys stopping by and listening to us on the Cuzzo podcast. Until next time, peace.
With double L.
Oh, I didn't know I could do that.
Do what?
I did this, and it did balloons. That was weird. That's cool. It worked out because I did this, and like balloons started coming out.
That's cool.